So it's not coming because you're weak or because you're ungrateful or because you can't handle the responsibility of a business, but because we're asking ourselves to keep building from a why that no longer fits the life we're actually living. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I'm your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. Hey friends, and welcome back to Life Coaching for Mompreneurs. I'm your host, Martine Williams, and today's episode, I'm really excited to kind of talk about. It was inspired by a clarity call that I had with a new client. And I love my clients and the inspiration, and they're always challenging me with new content and just give me so much inspiration on what to bring here on the podcast. But I asked her a question that I asked most of the women that I work with. And the question was, why are you building this business? Or why do you want to build this business? And her initial answer came quickly. It sounded right. It sounded responsible. It sounded logical. And it was the kind of answer that many of us give, the one we think we should give, or the one that we've had. But she wanted to talk with her husband after the clarity call, which I totally get that. And so we had a follow-up call. And she said, I really sat with that question over the weekend. And I realized that my answer that I gave you is not the real answer. So as she spent time, a different answer emerged. And it was one that wasn't coming from performance. It wasn't coming from pressure. It was one that actually fit the season of life that she's in now. So her background was in corporate, and it was a very toxic environment, and also just the performer in me. So many of you have heard me talk about I'm also a performer, and I can very easily get into that like performance loop to where I'm doing things because I think I should do them, or it's the hustle identity sometimes is still in there. And so she is now not in her corporate job anymore, and she's building her own business. And so her initial response when I asked her that question was the performer identity in her. And it was really fascinating to watch her come back to this call and be like, that's not really who I want to be. And that's not really the business, why I want to build the business. And just to watch her and the difference of even her body language when she showed up to this call, when she talked about the old why that she gave me and the new one, it was like night and day. So in that moment, it became so clear how often we keep building our lives and businesses from a why that isn't really ours anymore. It might be the old version of you, the old identity, not the identity of the woman you're becoming. Or maybe that why never fully was what you wanted. It was just what you were told you should do, or what you thought you should have, or fill in the blank there for you. But that conversation is what led me to today's episode, because here's what I know to be true. Your why doesn't have to be permanent, but it does have to be present. And when your why doesn't fit your life anymore, your nervous system will resist everything built on it. And that resistance, which we've been talking about a lot on here, it's not failure, it's information. When you start feeling resistance, go in, lean in, don't check out, don't numb out, don't cope, don't dismiss it. So let's talk about what that means. Burnout is often an alignment issue. It's not a capacity issue. I've said this before, and I've shared kind of my burnout stories with you, but just as a quick review, if you're a brand new listener, one of my burnout stories came from really a successful time in my business. So I was in direct sales for 16 years and had a very successful business. But I remember distinctly the desire not being there as much. like kind of lost that love and feeling for what I was doing, even the things that I really enjoyed doing in the business. And I remember just feeling off. And what I realized is that my burnout was coming from I was out of alignment with my assignment. And you can take that from a faith-based perspective where God was calling me into something different. And I resisted it because it just didn't make sense on paper, but the desire was no longer there. The work ethic was not there. There was a lot of things that were just starting to fade away. And I realized it was because not that I was working too many hours or I needed to manage my time better or any of that stuff that we normally think it is. My burnout came from I was out of alignment with my assignment. I was out of alignment with the life and the business that I wanted at that time and in this season of my life. So it's not coming because you're weak or because you're ungrateful or because you can't handle the responsibility of a business, but because we're asking ourselves to keep building from a why that no longer fits the life we're actually living. And I can remember, even in this new business that I've built, I can remember getting kind of in the performance loop again and getting really wrapped around the people that I was following at that time who had these big, large businesses and brands and empires. And I remember finally just coming to the conclusion, like, I'm not here to build a big empire. I want to have a big impact, and I don't have to have a big empire to have a big impact. And so me trying to build my business like theirs was out of alignment. So we have to keep asking ourselves, doesn't have to be a permanent why. My why has changed and evolved over the 2 decades that I've been in business as an entrepreneur, but it does have to be present. Why do we do the things that we're doing? Why are you building the business that you're building? Why are you building the life that you're building? And when that's no longer in alignment with what you're doing, that's when the burnout can come in. Many of the women that I coach aren't burned out because they're doing too much. Many of them are burned out because they're not doing meaningful work, or the reason they're doing their work has expired. That reason has expired. That why no longer matters to them anymore or as much to them. The why that once fueled you may have helped you survive, helped you prove something, helped you get through a hard season maybe, but seasons change, right? And when the why doesn't evolve, the body pushes back. The body pushes back. And that was what I was experiencing when I realized that I was out of alignment with my assignment. And discipline without desire feels heavy. So we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but I want to kind of touch on this again, that because I see it all the time with high achieving women. You know how to be disciplined. You know how to follow through. You know how to do the work. But discipline without the desire feels heavy. It feels different. It feels like you're forcing yourself through the day, doing the right things without feeling connected. Like you're like, I'm doing all the right things, but you're not feeling connected to any of it. You're checking the boxes while wondering, where did the spark go? Discipline isn't the problem. Discipline is a tool, right? But we got to have our desire tethered to it. Because when it's disconnected from desire, purpose, or meaning, it stops directing your life and it starts draining it. And I've been sharing pretty openly here on the podcast about feeling disconnected to the business that I want to build and how I want to get out from behind this computer and I want to go out more and I want to be in people's, like in their presence, in their real presence, like connected in person to things. And like the more that I have just like sat with that desire, the more these ideas keep coming up. And the more I'm leaning more into that. Like my why is shifting. The business that I want to create and why I want to create it is shifting. It's not laziness, it's just a misalignment. So we want to have our why present. We want to have a connection to that why. Hey friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure. It's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up, and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
Working with Martine was truly a game changer for both my life and my business. She challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone and helped me clearly identify the areas where I was feeling the most resistance, and then guided me in creating solutions that actually fit my personality and my working style. What I appreciate most is how genuine and grounded she is in every conversation, and how naturally she blends life and business guidance together. As a female business owner, a mom, and now a dear friend, I deeply value the time, care, and energy she invested in me during our weekly sessions. Ending each week with clarity, momentum, and a reset mindset was incredibly powerful. The lessons and perspective I gained will stay with me for years to come. And I'm excited to see how my business continues to grow because of her support and direction. I'm so grateful for her coaching, encouragement, and the steady presence through one of the most challenging seasons of my business. As a sole provider for our family, signing up for coaching with Martine was one of the best investments I've ever made for both myself and for my business.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martine@martinewilliams.com with 3 times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get back to the show. And people keep going. We can keep going but still feel disconnected. And this is where a lot of us get stuck. A lot of us have those moments that we just keep going, we keep producing, we keep achieving, but internally there is this quiet disconnect. And that's what I want you to listen to, is that quiet inner voice or that whisper that is saying something's off. I'm not connected to this. Especially as a business owner, because there are 1,001 different ways to do your business, to build your business. And when you are connected with desire and purpose and discipline, you're unstoppable. But we downplay the desire. And I think for me, I downplayed desire so much because I'm just a person who gets things done. Like, I'm willing to do what it takes. But what if that didn't have to be the driving force behind what you did? What if you really could tap into true desire and the why on a level that you've never done before? And I have seen my coach display this so profoundly this year in a way that I've never seen it before. And it's really challenged me to get out of my head so much and into my heart and into my purpose and into my connection and into my desire. And I got an email from, I don't even know how I got in this woman's email list. Do you ever find that? Where you're like, I don't know how I am in her community. But anyway, I received an email from her about this really fun, cool thing that she's doing where she's going around to all these different cities and having in-person events. And I'm like, I want to do that. Like, that sounds fun to me. I want to go on tour. If I firmly believe, which I do, that every single woman deserves to have a pro scan experience, deserves to know herself on that level so she can create a business and a life and a marriage and relationships, honoring her strengths, harnessing her strengths, highlighting her strengths, and understanding the things that give her energy, the things that drain her energy. So she's managing her energy and not just her time. Like, all of the things and the breakthroughs that I've seen women have in my coaching in my 6-month container, I want every woman to have those. And so, how can I create experiences that match my desire for being in person with people and also bringing the impact? And I've been in large rooms, big conferences, and I want to create smaller, intimate opportunities where I actually get to know you, where you actually get to know me, where you actually get to know the other women in the room. Like, the ideas that I have right now where I'm really tapping into desire are amazing, and they feel so aligned. Now, my brain wants to go to the how, and I don't know all the hows yet, but I'm stopping myself. I'm just allowing myself to sit with why. And one of my peers, I forget exactly what she called it, but it was like the 7 depths of why. Like, I would tell her something and she would say, why? And I'd give her another answer, why? It's kind of like the kid, right? The little kid. And you're like, but why? But why? But why? Do that to yourself. Ask yourself why 7 times. to get down to the root reason, your real why, your emotional why, the deep reasons why you're doing the things you're doing. It makes a difference. And it's kind of like stretching before or after a workout. Like we don't want to do it. We just want to get into the work. If you're a performer, I know you get what I'm saying there, but the transformation, the growth happens when you're stretching. You can go further when you have better mobility and flexibility, right? So I want you to think of your why as that. It's not a part to skip. It's actually the part to spend the most time on. So you might hear yourself when you're having that like disconnect, you might hear yourself say, well, I should just be grateful for where I'm at, or other people would love to be where I am, or I don't understand why this feels so hard. That disconnection isn't because you've lost your drive. It's often because you've outgrown the reason that you started. Again, your why is meant to evolve. It doesn't have to be permanent, but it needs to be present. And if no one told you that it's okay and necessary to update your why, I'm telling you this now. It's okay to spend time. It's actually the best use of your time. If you're feeling disconnected or you're in confusion, you're not sure where, like go back to your why. So life changes, right? Life changes us, seasons change, our whys change. Motherhood changes us, loss changes us, growth changes us. Grief has been the season I've been in, especially reshapes what matters. When you've been sick or been through an illness, like when I think of the times where my why shifted or a real pivotal moment happened, it was usually in like, I remember when I hurt my knee snowboarding and I couldn't, I just expected myself to bounce back so quickly and I didn't. It's like took me down into a perspective of, am I doing what I really want to be doing? When I got sick with COVID in 2021, I was in the bed for 15 days. I had a headache for almost 60. And I just remember thinking, like, again, am I doing the work that I want to be doing? So our seasons change, our why changes. And the grief that I've been under has also been bringing me back to these questions because when you experience loss, multiple losses like I have, it puts life in perspective. None of us are guaranteed another day. So why don't we do what we want to do now? Why do we want to do the work that is the most impactful and purposeful for us now? When life shifts, priorities shift, energy shifts, capacity shifts, and the why that once made sense may no longer feel true anymore. That doesn't mean that you stopped caring. It just means you care differently now. That's all. And your nervous system knows when something no longer fits, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. Your body will call a meeting. Let me just tell you, it will call a meeting. Resistance is often wisdom before language. You feel it in your body. You feel something is off. That's the wisdom before you have words to put to it. So, as I was reflecting on this, I was reminded of a guide that I created a while back called Rev Up Your Dreams. And I want to be clear, it's not about dreaming bigger or pushing harder. It's about reconnecting to your motive, the reason beneath the goal. Because when life changes you, the motive often needs attention too. So I created a guide to help women slow down and ask better questions, not to rush into answers. And if you want it, I'm going to link it in the show notes for you, but you can just go to martinewilliams.com/guide, I think is the link. And it's Rev Up Your Dreams. It's there to support you. It's not there to pressure you, but it does have questions in there to help you get to the root. And if you take nothing else from today, I want you to sit with this one question. You can journal it if you want, but it's not required. No pressure to answer it right now. But I want you to ask, what am I doing out of habit, not because it still feels aligned? What am I doing out of habit, not because it still feels aligned? And just notice what comes up. Remember, resistance is information. It's not failure. So let me say this clearly. When your body resists something your mind says you should want, that's not a character flaw. You're not broken. It's just information. It's data. And when your why doesn't fit your life anymore, your nervous system resists everything built on it. And that resistance, again, isn't failure. It's just information. We don't fix resistance by pushing harder. All my performers out there, We understand it by listening, by tuning in, and see what it tells us. So here's the permission many women need to hear. Your why doesn't have to be permanent, but it does have to be present. I've said that a few times in this episode because I want you to really hear it. It doesn't have to be permanent, but it does have to be present. You don't need a 5-year mission statement. You don't need a perfectly articulated purpose. You need a reason that fits this season of your life. A why that feels true in your body, not just logical in your head. So print off the guide, take some time through it, answer just that one question. Why? Why are you in the business? Why are you wanting to create this business? Why are you focusing on your health this year? Why are you wanting to lose the weight? You can apply this to any area of your life. And if things feel harder than they should, it might not be the work. Like that was kind of the reframe for me. I'm a hard worker. I can do the work, but I was disconnected from the purpose of the work. So it might be time to ask a better question. Not can I do this work, but why do I want to do it? Why would I want to do this work? Why would I want to do the reps in the gym? Why would I want to make the call? Why would I want to start the business? Ask better questions because the quality of your answers come from the quality of the questions that you're asking. And remember, that resistance that you're feeling is not failure. It's information. And we want to honor it. And when we honor it, it leads to alignment. So thank you for being here with me today. I hope this was helpful for you to lean in to your why. And you've got the guide. It'll be linked up in the show notes for you as well. And until next time, I'm believing you always, and I will catch you on our next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.